frenemy, enemy. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. Frenemy, enemy. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. Frenemy, enemy. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. Frenemy, enemy. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. All these neck.
Hello and welcome to the show. My name is Mimi T and today we have again ArchieLuxury from the ArchieLuxury channel. Welcome on board, Archie.
Thank you very much for having me, Mimi.
No problem at all. This morning we're actually discussing the most popular women's Rolex. I'm sure this is a question that a lot of ladies out there have, and we do have our watch guru here today. So Archie, I'd like to ask you, what is the currently hot women's watches of 2016?
Okie dokie. The thing is, I got to tell you the truth there is that when it comes to watches themselves there are a couple of problems.
Okay.
Okay? And the problem is, it's like a lot of men have the same problem and women also have the same problem.
Right.
And that's a lot of these really beautiful watches aren't waterproof.
I
So,
see.
for example, if you a lot of these dress type watches like from Cartier and even Omega and brands like that, really good watches, they aren't waterproof.
Right.
So I always think the hottest watch, the best watch you can buy a lady, because let's face it,
Waterproof is very, very important. I know in Japan we have a huge culture of women sitting in their bathtubs. So they actually, sitting in their bathtubs with their mobile phones, right? So we had a huge phase in Japan where all the women were only purchasing waterproof phones. So in that sense, is that kind of relatable?
It is because let's face it, if you buy an expensive watch, there's nothing worse than it gets damaged by water.
Absolutely.
So the number one most waterproof watch in the world, it's actually Rolex. Rolex virtually, like a lot of these Rolexes, like whether it's my Explorer 2 here, this is called an oyster. Oyster being, those things you eat. Oysters, aphrodisiac. And the Rolex Oyster. So what I would say is, now Rolex has a couple lines. Let me just say this quickly. They got a Cellini line, which is their dress line, which is absolute, to be honest with you, it's absolute dog shit. Don't touch it. Don't touch it. They're unsellable secondhand. I used to work as an antique watch dealer. They were unsellable. The Rolex Oysters. The Oysters. And the whole thing about the Oysters is they're a waterproof watch. So whether you're washing your hands, doing the dishes, or just normal life with the kids and doing things, they're fantastic because they're normally about 100 meters waterproof.
Okay.
And you're not going to damage your watch because there's nothing worse. Say you buy a Cartier for a couple $1,000 and then it gets water in it. What'll happen is the dial will get discolored and it will need a very expensive repair. Very expensive. So waterproof watches are really fantastic. Now the thing is this, they don't call them waterproof, they're called water resistance. So every watch says it's water resistant to such and such. But I got to tell you the truth, only Rolex is what I would have faith in. Because Rolex has a screw-in crown. So there's a double seal. So as long as the watch is fairly good, you can take it in water and water won't come in.
I see. So Archie, I have a question. Do you have a specific watch that you might suggest for the Rolex lover women out there?
Well, this has had a big change lately because the traditional Rolex Datejust, which I'll put an image up on this video here, is a 26 mil ladies size. 26 mil. You measure it from the 9 o'clock to the 3 o'clock.
Yep.
Okay. And that's the width. That's the length. They call that's really how you determine the size. So this particular wristwatch I'm wearing here is considered a 40 mil. So it's 40 mils across. Ladies 26.
26.
It's now considered a bit small. So Rolex had three sizes. They had 26 mil. They had a mid size, which is around about the 30, 31 size, and they had the men's size, which was 36 mil. Now what's happened is the 36 mils, like say from the 90s, they've now 36 mil. You wouldn't believe this. Rolex has released a 36 mil Datejust, which used to be the men's size. And what they've done is they put flowers on the dial. so it's definitely not a men's watch, it's a lady's watch.
Okay, so we can see a shift in the sizes
It's
of
kind
watches?
of, what's happened is watches have gotten, the fashion has been very, it's like those ghetto blaster stereos. The bigger the better.
Yes, of
With
course.
watches, they've gone very big. However, let me just say this to you. They got so big, they're actually moving back down in size again.
Okay.
So it really is, the big trend is that whereas the 26 mil is really good for a petite lady like yourself, for a larger lady, because let's face it, you know, we're all getting bigger, it's the hormones in the chicken. The mid-size, which used to be like a small man size, is now many ladies like a small man. And I got to say, see this watch you're wearing. This is an Audemars Piguet. This is from the 90s. It's a steel and gold with diamond bezel. That's actually their biggest size. I actually owned one before, which was smaller than that, called the mini size.
And what size would this face be?
I think that's about 30.
30.
That's about 30. That's about 30. I don't have a rule here. Always when you do these videos, you never have equipment here. But it's actually slightly bigger than the I had the mini size, which was even smaller. So the fashion is really going towards bigger watches. The other thing, the big thing is, a lot of supermodels have done this. You might have seen them in the fashion magazines. They will wear a man's sports watch. Like this here is clearly, this is a 40 mil. This has always been a men's watch. Remember we went to Vintage Watch Co. Natalie, she had one of, this is what she wears.
No way.
She wears that.
Let's
put it on. Let's see what you think there.
Okay.
Put it on.
So I'm going to change watches. I'm about to change to
Actually,
the
we
men's.
don't even need to undo it. Your wrist is so small. Just slide it on there. What do you think?
Oh.
So you could take links out. We could make it fit.
Absolutely.
What do you think?
I think it looks sporty, active.
Is it too big? Is it heavy?
It's heavy, but I think I quite like it. I mean, if the links were a little bit tighter.
You could always put it on a NATO.
Oh.
You know, that's what you certainly could do.
Absolutely.
That. So
there it is.
So a lot of the fashion models, you actually see them wearing men's Rolex watches. And in the really expensive parts of Miami in America, that's the Florida, Miami, Florida, LA, you see a lot of ladies having the solid gold, like my gold Submariner. They would wear that. Ladies wear that. That's considered acceptable to do. It's like a piece of jewelry. So that's really the big thing. But I've got to tell you the truth. The big thing for ladies' watches is the waterproofing. That's probably the most important. You know, that's such a cool thing, because often ladies will buy a watch, but they don't understand the importance of it being waterproof. And many men have had the same problem, because if it's not waterproof, if you're in a hot climate like Australia or Miami, Florida, you do get condensation. And what can happen is sometimes, I've worn watches. I had a Cartier tank, 18 karat gold tank. I wore it on a hot day. It fogs up. That means air is getting in, and that will corrode the watch. It will really damage it.
So is there a way to demystify?
Get it into a watchmaker ASAP. ASAP.
So seek professional.
Seek professional, because they have to open it up to air it out. Otherwise, you'll possibly damage the dial, and if not damage them, you can. That's how it forms rust. You form rust. That's it. And then it's a very expensive.
There's nothing worse than a rusty watch.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay. All right, ladies. Well, the answer for you guys out there is look for water-resistant watches. I know that there is a shift amongst women culture as well in ladies turning to men's size watches. But stay tuned, guys, and thank you, Archie, again for your advice. Stay tuned, subscribe, like, and share the video. Thank you so much. This is Mimi T.
Friend of me, enemy. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. Friend of me, enemy. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. Friend of me, enemy. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. All these neck just wanna be a mini me.
take my style and now you so blue. Yeah, yeah, we don't need know you. Your hometown, we don't need go to. Trying to get it worldwide, global. Looking, I can show you. The killing this is go-to. Skrilla, the whole man killer. Life so free, can't no man kill 'em. Came from the bottom, was a broke man, get up. Still move like Tin Man with no found with 'em. Boom, pardon me, I get hectic. Boom, I survive through the wreckage. You should go look for the exit. New sheriff in town, I get a little reckless. Missed the memo, go check the message. I ain't then came back for seconds. I ain't seen your fake little necklace. Lifestyle depressed.